Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and today we're going to talk about how Walmart is warning of an incoming recession, or rather the possibility these lower income powerhouse stores are in distress. And that is so telling, because what does that mean, guys? What does it mean if Walmart is closing stores? It means that they can't afford to stay open. What does that mean? It means that consumer purchasing power is unraveling, and recession is either already here or it's knocking at the door. But either way, you guys, I hope you enjoy the video. And please don't forget, you guys, I'm not a financial advisor, even though my bio is as someone that's about to move. Just as soon as I stop recording this, I'm about to pack this entire house and I'm going to move into another house because I couldn't find something to buy that made sense. And I'm forced to move because I'm living in a mold house. And for all of that, you guys, again, please like the video, share it if you don't mind, because it helps out the channel, and give me some comments. Either way, enjoy. All right, guys, this is an article from masslive.com. This came out June 21st. Walmart is closing more locations next month. Here's where. Now, this is going to be linked in my description. I'm not going to really go into where. The main thing here is the warnings of recession. So let's see what's going on with Walmart. After closing 11 stores earlier this year, we're only talking about 2024, and all 51 healthcare centers, which is shocking to me, but whatever, and virtual care offerings, Walmart continues. That wasn't enough, guys. Just those things alone was not enough. They continue to downsize with more cuts as it announces 3 additional store closures. And so the thing here, guys, is we are not foolish. If the economy was so strong, if the labor market was so solid, then Walmart wouldn't be closing down stores. Would you guys agree with me? If the economy and labor market was strong, wouldn't they be opening stores? Seriously, guys, tell me what you think. Do they open stores or close stores when the economy is great? Someone's lying to us. Someone is lying to us. Who do you think it is, guys? Who's lying to us? What's really going on? Are things great or are things hard right now? This goes on. In May, Business Insider reported a total of 11 Walmart closures in 2024 already, with the announcement of 3 more closures. Is that a total of 14 closures nationally? Now, in those cases, the company said that the stores were not meeting financial performance expectations, meaning wherever they're located, those citizens are broke and can't even shop at Walmart. With the last round of layoffs being 1,049 employees that were impacted by closures in communities including Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Townsend, Maryland, and Columbus, Ohio. You know what's really interesting, guys, is Milwaukee, Maryland, Columbus, all of those have super strong housing markets, right? I mean, in the mainstream headlines, seriously, go to Columbus, Ohio, Maryland, Milwaukee, go to those places. According to the headlines, those are markets that are flourishing. They're doing so well, but the reality is they're not doing well. It just seems like they're doing well because there's enough rich people to purchase the overvalued houses, because in many of those areas, there's just not enough new construction or existing homes coming to the market. So it appears that those houses, and even San Diego and Anaheim, it appears that the housing markets are doing well, but they're basing that off of historically low inventory, and it just doesn't make sense. And not only is it historically low inventory, we're coming out of historical stimulus. We got so much money kicked into our bank accounts, and if you're rich, you got even richer. And guess what? You can afford to waste your money. And that's what we are seeing in many markets, okay? Real estate is hyper local, subdivision analysis, cash flow, wedge, love the house, no consumer debt. You guys already know what my checklists are when it comes to buying houses. But to find a deal like that is very, very hard. Know that. And don't settle on a bad deal. You guys, don't settle on a bad deal. Please, please, please don't settle on a bad deal. Just be patient, okay? Just be patient. I got to be patient. I don't want to be patient anymore. I want to go buy a house. I just want to buy a house. I want my tax deductions. I want my interest. I want to build and create. But unfortunately, man, I mean, life is hard right now. The inflation's hitting me, guys. I got to rent. I'm signing another year lease to rent. Okay, so now listen to what Walmart has to say. And by the way, you guys, remember, corporations don't care about you as an employee, because Why would they? They're running a business, right? They have to stay in business, and their obligation is to stockholders, not their employees, which to me is depressing. I understand that's how the system works, but I do not like the system. I think the system is broken. But this is what they have to say. We are grateful to the consumers who have given us the privilege of serving them at our San Diego and El Cajon stores. Wow. Uh-oh, that means if they're grateful, that means they're closing the stores down, or are they opening them? I mean, we look forward to continuing to serve them at any of our many locations across the area. Uh-oh, doesn't seem like it's going well there. And again, those are really strong areas as well. San Diego, I just mentioned it. So in the best of housing markets, it seems like things are the worst. Is it fair to say that the housing market is destroying the economy and destroying American and destroying our society? Is it fair to say that? Is the housing market right now destroying our morals, our integrity, and our ethics and our society? Is it? Let me know what you think. Because I think it is. Because it's not fair. We just want a roof over our head. I want my family to be happy and safe, and I want to be left alone. Are y'all with me on that? But look at what these guys are saying. Despite the closures, Walmart announced in January press release plans to build or convert more than 150 stores. So, it's just the same thing. It's just the headlines. And this is my point. You guys, you can't believe the headlines. You can't believe the optimism. I mean, they're saying, welcome. Today we celebrate the grand opening of store 8861 in sunny Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. I mean, they're opening stores as well, not as many, and they're closing a whole bunch. I mean, in other words, you guys, it's not fair to the employees. But again, that's not what this video is about. This video was about, you gotta look past the mainstream media headlines. You gotta see what's really going on. You gotta kind of compare it to history. You gotta see what's going on in your own face, and then you gotta decide, how should you spend your money going forward? Are you gonna spend your money like there's no issues? You're gonna spend your money like we're still getting stimulus from the government? Or are you gonna spend your money like we're about or already in recession? And that, remembering the whole time that cash is king, and that there are more millionaires made during recession than any other time. So you can go bust your wad, if you will, and go buy an overpriced house, never been a worse time in history, or you can be patient and you can wait and get a better price and get a better deal. Now remember, having said that, is still, whether the market's crashing right now or blowing up right now, you still got to go hyperlocal. You got to go subdivision review. If a property doesn't have a subdivision, then you go about, 2-3 miles from the subject property, and you want to try to find homes about a 500 square foot variance. Again, I'm going into value. I try to teach how value is created so that you guys are empowered. And if you want to know more about that, I have a free home buying course I made for you guys. Take it. I'm not saying buy right now. I'm just explaining in the meantime, how do you buy? If you're just an everyday normal citizen consumer, how do you buy, and what do you have to be careful about? And I'm going to tell y'all don't know what you don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not knocking you. I've been doing this over 20 years and I still don't know things. There are so many bad things that can happen in real estate. It's crazy because remember, all of the professionals, most of the professionals involved in real estate transactions are on commission. And so they have a financial bias. It's already set up to work against you, the consumer. And this is why right here, this is why, I get it. People aren't exactly crazy. I think they're a little bit lazy, but look at the headline. This is from the White House. This is from the White House. So I get it. I don't want to be picking on people, but look at both sides of the ledger. Wage growth beating price growth. What? Wow. Right? So things are doing good now, right? No, they're not. Now for 15 months in a row. So the White House is saying, celebrate. I'm going to show you guys something on a contrary, but let's read this. We learned this morning that CPI price index was flat last month. Flat, like it didn't go up anymore because it's already high. Is that what they mean by flat? Like killing us? It's just going to stay killing us? We needed to go down, not stay flat. Regardless, it was up 3.3% over the past year. Both measures came in below expectations, but not my expectation. Their expectation comes from where? The land of imagination? Is that where their expectations come from? Core CPI inflation, which leaves out gas and food prices, was up 0.2% and 3.4% on a monthly and yearly basis, respectively. Also below expectations, lowest core CPI inflation rate in over 3 years, right? So all good stuff, right, guys? No, that's BS. It's lying. It's trying to continue to get us to spend. It wants you to feel like the economy is better than it actually is. Now, this goes on. In the past, we stressed the following point. You cannot understand, and this is huge. You cannot understand the impact of inflation on the working families by looking solely at inflation. Correct. That is correct. You have to look at the actual families and you have to talk to them. And if you talk to me, you talk to my family, and I've done so many things to prepare to get through this, guys. I'm suffering. I'm this close to living paycheck to paycheck, and I constantly rebudget. I'm maximizing all of the benefits of the higher inflation, cash back, money in treasuries, but it's still hard. I mean, look at guys, I have a mold outbreak in this house. I have more moving expenses. The mortgage company that I left, and I had left with the bridge still there so I could come back, went out of business. The amount of hits that I've taken in the last year and a half, these are some of the biggest hits that I've taken since the GFC. It's pretty crazy. I mean, but I'm still here, guys. I'm still hanging on, and I'm not going to quit. But don't be fooled by the White House saying this. They don't know how families feel. They don't know how the American citizen feels because they're creating the pain. You cannot understand the impact of inflation on working families by solely looking at inflation. You also have to look at the growth in hourly earnings and other income measures. And we're going to do that after this. We're going to look at adjusted for inflation here in a minute, as they tell us how family buying power is evolving over time. After all, every price in the economy goes up over time. So if we look solely at prices and ignore the extent to which wages or incomes were keeping up, we get a very skewed notion of how families are doing. And here's the thing. What that statement is trying to do right there is it's trying to act like inflation doesn't exist. They're talking about how we got to look at multiple income factors, but they not once mentioned what is it adjusted for inflation. They're just saying this. They're saying we understand it really hurts inflation, but we're going to look at nominal increases. What that demonstrates right there is they're just talking. That's it. They're just putting words in there to make it seem like they can relate and show us sympathy, compassion, and empathy when, again, they're causing this. And one of the ways that they're causing this is ignoring it. But as American citizens, we don't have to ignore it. We have charts like this. Look at this chart. Here's an income chart, White House, real median income in the United States. You guys see where it says real right there? You know that? You know what that stands for? That stands for adjusted for inflation. So what is really income when we take into account all of these price increases? Look at this income, because remember, guys, we want to look at what's really going on with the family, just like that article said. So if we really want to know what's going on with the family, real income has been going down since 2019 for 3 years straight. 1, 2, 3 years straight. Look at that. We don't have 2023 yet, but we will. Again, what I'm trying to explain to people is the consumer right now is on life support. And when we have more and more people stop paying their bills and more people that lose their purchasing power, we will go into recession. We will have unemployment and prices will go down. And if you were patient on the sideline and you couldn't find a deal in the meantime, because I'm trying to find a deal in the meantime, I just can't, then you're going to become a winner, or at least the probability is much greater than if you would have just bought. But that's income, okay? So our income is down, but it's not just income. All of that stimulus, and I have a lot of children. So if you had a lot of children, you got a lot of stimulus. That stimulus, and I saved that stimulus, guys, is called excess savings. That excess savings is gone. Let me show you. So we have this massive bubble, right? We have Walmart, we have Target, we have all of these Amazon layoffs, Meta, we have all of these layoffs going on everywhere. And income's not keeping up with the everything bubble, and now we can't even support ourselves anymore. Look at this. It ballooned up. Here's all the stimulus. It got up to over $2 trillion. This is excess consumer savings. Now, it started going down rapidly when quantitative tightening, right? Higher interest rates. It costs more. But look at this, guys. As of March 2024, Americans have spent, on average, right? We're just generalizing here, and I don't like doing that, but it's gone. It's less now. And the government printed us money, a lot of money. It's gone. It's been gone now since March 2024. So again, just to recap what we went over, these low-end mega stores, they're closing. They're suffering. American citizens, their wages, it never kept up the prices of everything. Maybe it felt like that, but that's because the government was sending us money. Some people that went on unemployment were making more money on unemployment than they did at their actual job. Okay, so we got no income growth. We have no more savings. We don't have the ability to save either. And on top of that, this may be the most telling trend of all. More Americans are falling behind on their credit card bills. Listen to this. It's hard for me to even say this. About 8.9% of credit card balances fell into delinquency over the last year, and that's according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. That is a sign of growing number of borrowers are feeling the strain of rising prices and high interest rates. Everything is more expensive. Debt is more expensive. Rent is more expensive. Food, gas, everything. Even with relatively healthy wage gains, not. We've seen over the last several years, many consumers just aren't keeping up with the price pressures. It's like, duh, right? Like every bull that I've interviewed, none of them can acknowledge the fact that we need income growth to match unaffordability, right? If things are going to get more unaffordable, that's fine. But we all of us need to make more money to be able to absorb that level of unaffordability. But again, no one's acknowledging that. So we have an 8.9% delinquency rate on top of all of that. That's just the purchasing power of the consumer, which remember, 70% of the economy, of GDP, is from consumer spending. And also remember, about 70% of consumers are paycheck to paycheck. How long does that sustain before the entire system falls apart? It's actually, the thing is it's actually already fallen apart. That's why there's so much government deficit spending. But again, we're just talking about a few things here. Let me show you a couple more recession indicators. The 10-year and the 2-year inversion. This is the most trusted single set of data in the history of recession indicators. This is extremely accurate. And you guys, we have been inverted since April of 2022. We've been in the longest inversion prior to recession in the history of inversion. So again, now this just takes into account a whole bunch of things again, and it just plants one set of data so that you guys can see that despite what's in the headlines, there's a whole bunch of people, you see it here, there's a whole bunch of people that are actually betting against the Fed. And there's a whole bunch of people that are saying, actually, despite what you see in the mainstream media and despite what I say, right? Like I'm going to say, just buy, despite them saying, just buy, they take their money and they've flown to safety. And that is what you guys see there. That is a massive indicator, but it's not just that. We have another indicator now, and this is an even more accurate indicator, you guys. It's the unemployment rate. And you guys may think, oh, 4% is nothing. I'm not talking about the 4%. They're going to revise that anyways. I'm talking about the trajectory. Anytime unemployment has gone up at this trajectory, we have gone into recession. If you don't believe me, go to this form. This is the unemployment rate. These shaded vertical lines here is when we went into recession. Look at every recession and tell me that unemployment didn't go up right before recession. Tell the last time in history that unemployment went up like this and we didn't go into recession. Tell me, look at this for yourself, formulate your own opinion, but I'm going to tell you guys now, again, look at the trajectory. You can clearly see right now, unemployment is going up. Anytime that happens, what's next? What's right around the corner? Recession. I mean, but seriously, guys, I mean, at this point, we have multiple indicators. And if you guys get wrapped up in the recession because you had your head in the sand, then you got no one to blame except for yourself and all of the media and probably the Fed and Federal Reserve. So you got some people to blame. But I mean, you got to blame yourself because look at what I'm showing you. There's not just one set of data. This is the change in non-farm payroll. So this is government jobs versus total jobs. And what I want to point out is towards the end of 2023, 43 to 25% of the new jobs were government. That is very unhealthy. That is what it's recessions. You guys, starting the beginning of 2022, it was only 5 to 1% of total jobs were government. That has ballooned. What we're seeing in the headlines is not what's really going on. And so you may ask, well, then Travis, then why haven't we crashed yet? You've been talking about this for 2 years, right? 2 years and 2 months, 2 years and I think 4 months actually. But they're like, why, right? And I had to ask myself, why? Why? It's easy, guys. The answer is very, very easy, actually. It's because of the inflation, or rather the money printing that they never stopped. And we do have an update to the national deficit spending. Okay, the deficit is much bigger. I'm just talking about the spending. Right now, for the fiscal year, the year's not over, guys. Again, I repeat, the year's not over. We're at 1.2 trillion. During the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis, okay, most horrible recession of my lifetime, we were in deficit of 1.4 trillion, which means we're at a pace to exceed the Great Financial Crisis right now in our economy, which means they're 100% propping it up. Without that 1.2 trillion, we'd be going into depression. You guys, again, 1.2 trillion in deficit and the year is not even over. So I don't care if these economists have these college degrees at Harvard and they sound like this, this parrot-like, being encyclopedia. I don't care. They could say all these blah, 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 blah. People can't afford this. Okay, we don't have the money for this. The money is gone. The wages aren't there. The delinquency is surging. The government's involving is creating a smoke screen, causing people to continue to kick the can down the road until people spin into the end, until the wheels fall off of this thing. I mean, you guys see it any other way than that? I mean, tell me how you see it. That's how I see it. I'm interested to know how you see it. And other than that, guys, I really, really hope that you guys got some new insights, value, and perspective. And if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know I wish you luck and I hope you win.